50, 45, there goes Davis.
Oh my God!
Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh my God. Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl in the most unbelievable fashion you will ever see.
Oh, welcome in, everyone, to a brand new edition of the Dream Wager, episode 432. Today is Friday, August 23rd, 2024. As always, I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me, as always, is our NBA guru, my partner in crime, Elvis Acosta. E, how you doing today, kid?
Yeah, we're doing all right. Could be better, but, good weather, pretty decent day. Let's get into it.
Yeah, we got a great episode for you guys. A great interview with Alex Sims, Heisman voter, award-winning journalist as well. We preview a little fantasy, her being so successful in a male-dominated industry, and we even talk about a fantasy as well. We got our two-a-days. We'll finish the NFC South with the Bucks and the Panthers. We have here, baby, week 0. College football is back. Kickoff in Ireland this weekend. I got some plays for week 0. And then we got a Friday slate in the MLB as well. But yeah, I do want to start in the NFL. We got some starters that were announced. Commanders, Dan Quinn announced Jaden Daniels will be the starter week 1 versus Tampa. This now means the number 1 and number 2 overall picks, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, will both be opening day starters. Head coach Sean Payton, he officially named Bo Nix, so that's another one for us. We got right. He will be week 1 starter versus Seattle. He's the first Bronco rookie quarterback to start week 1 since the legend John Elway. So no surprise there, kid, but what are the Patriots waiting on?
I'm not sure. In my opinion, just off the first 2 weeks, especially, the second game of the preseason, I think Drake May showed that, he's ready for the moment. I understand Jacoby Brissett. He's seasoned. He's been there. He's done it. He's seen things. He's won plenty of games, but in my opinion, he lost plenty of games. So I understand it's not like we're destined to win the division. We're trying to make any noise still. But in my opinion, we drafted him 3rd overall. It's not like we're destined to make the playoffs this season. So why not just throw the kid in there and let him develop, start strong? Hey, if he has a rough season, guess what? We pick it up next season. But I say let's start him week 1. Now you
and you got Joe Milton in as well. A little accuracy problem dating back to Tennessee when he was in college last year, but he has a cannon of an arm. I think he'll be some competition, but I do think Drake May will start. And the last one, I guess, is the one in Seattle with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Even though I do expect he is dealing with an injury. Yeah, Pittsburgh. I do think he will start week 1. What did I say? Did I not say Pittsburgh?
You said Seattle.
I'm still thinking of the Legion of Boom and stuff, but Pittsburgh. He is the favorite to start, which I think he will start. But like I said when we previewed the Steelers, I expect a short leash. I really do. I think if he struggles out of the gate, there won't be a lot of hesitation for Mike Tomlin to go to Justin Fields. Do you? I think you agree. I think you like Russ to start week 1, but do you agree with the point that there might be a short leash on him this season?
Yeah, just because, Justin Fields is ready to go. We know it's a battle for a reason. It's a reason why a starter hasn't been named yet. Just because, we both, I will honestly say, and I know you would agree, Russ is on the back end of his career. It's not the, let's just say, let Russ cook moments. He could probably still cook. I'm not saying cook for 4 quarters, but he could probably cook for a series or 2 when needed. But I think Justin Fields is a solid backup who honestly could start for a few teams out there. I just feel like I said, I'm on record on saying Russell Wilson gives you the best chance to win in 2024-2025 season. I'm not worried about the future. I'm worried about right now. And I think Russell Wilson is just a little better of an overall quarterback than Justin is at this moment. Can I see week 6, week 7, Mike Tomlin saying, you know what, I think we should head a different direction? Yeah, absolutely. But to start week 1, I think it is Russ.
Yeah, I agree. And I think on a 1 year deal, you got to see what you have with Russ first. You got to give him a shot. But I will say, I think there might be some packages where they do implement Justin Fields, maybe some read options, maybe get him in the field. Do you think they implement him that way? Because I don't think he serves any purpose just sitting on the sideline waiting for his opportunity, right?
Yes, possibly, and I think it will be a good thing. But on the other side, I think it's also like a backhanded compliment. Like, yeah, you're good enough to be on the field. You're just not good enough to play starting quarterback. So I just feel like one, they gotta get him on the field somehow, but also not just let him rot away and make him feel like discouraged or something like that. Just because we know how dangerous he could be with his legs. So I will mix it up in there. If anything, a couple wildcat formations, give him at least 5 snaps a game, something like that, and maybe even something like a Taysom Hill role. Maybe not catch fucking passes 30 yards down the field, but I wouldn't mind him, snapping, dropping back, passing, or having the option to run with the ball like Taysom Hill does with the Saints.
Yeah, I think that's a great example of what they might wind up doing with Justin Fields. Get him in the game as well. And like you said, can burn you with those legs. We've seen it as starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. So I'm rooting for Justin Fields, bias aside. But we did have some news. Falcons, I mean, they're making moves to start this season. They signed their best corner, AJ Terrell, to a 4-year, $81 million deal, $65.8 million guaranteed. It's the largest guaranteed ever given to a corner on a 4-year deal. The last 8 days, they traded for Matthew Judon. They signed free agent Justin Simmons, and then they extended their best corner on a 4-year, $81 million deal. So I like what the Falcons are doing. I told you I was high on them, but they secured their one of their best corners for another 4 years.
Yeah, I think this is a great move, for both sides. One, AJ Terrell, basically resetting the cornerback market. And then for Atlanta, one, it shows the players in the locker room and the fan base, like, yo, we're making moves not just for today, but also for a few years down the road.
Yeah.
You see the Michael Pittman Jr. eighth overall. Now you're seeing, extending
You
AJ
love
Terrell.
Pittman
I
Penix.
can't. I keep saying it. Yeah, but we see with Penix Jr. At number 8 overall deal. So I think it's just a great move for both sides, and it's showing Atlanta, like, what, we're tired of the losing ways. We're trying to set a winning culture here, and it starts by adding good players and signing those good players. So it's a great move.
Yeah, and I also think it's sending to the message, not just to the guys in the locker room, to the whole NFC. We'll start with in the division. We're in win now mode. We're not rebuilding. We are winning this year. That's the goal. You mentioned the highest paid corners. It's still Jair Alexander at $21 million a year, but AJ Terrell just underneath at 20.25. Denzel Ward, he's underneath at 20.1. Jalen Ramsey makes 20, and then Marlon Humphrey makes 19. But that's just not the biggest cornerback deals. You had Ladarius Need. He got 4 years, 76.4. Tyson Campbell, he got 4 years, 76. I mean, I think I was talking to you earlier in the day, and I said, Patrick Surtain, he's eligible for a new deal in Denver. Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley Jr., the Texans, they become eligible next year. You got to imagine Surtain and Sauce are going to get better deals than this, right?
Yeah, I think Sertan and Sauce is, so one of them is going to set the market. It's going to be the highest paid of all time, and then whoever follows up is going to be either right above it or right under it. Who's going to give their team a, let's just say, a discount.
Yeah. And then also, that wasn't just the only news went on Thursday. We also had a rare in-division trade. Washington, they sent their former first round. We talked with this Smuggleroo podcast about Jahad Dotson and what they kind of see from him. But, Washington, they kind of washed their hands with him. He wasn't the best. He is a former first-round pick, but they traded him to the Eagles and a 5th-round pick in exchange for a 2025 3rd-round pick and 2 7th-round picks. This is a brand new offense. You bring in Saquon, you get Jahad Dotson, you also have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. I mean, this Eagles offense is loaded, kid.
Yeah, though, we both like Paris Campbell, but we could agree that Jahad Dotson is an upgrade for Paris Campbell at the number 3 position. So the fact that you got AJ, Smith, and now Dotson as your three starting wide receivers. To me, that's a great wide receiver core right there. And then you add Saquon, you add Dallas Goddard. You could make a case that's one of the most talented offenses in all of football. So I like the fact that the Eagles are in a win now mode. They've been aggressive for it feels like for like 2 3 seasons now, and let's just see if it pays off. I like the direction they're headed to, and right now, Dill, I know you're gonna say my favorite words, but on paper, the Eagles do look good.
I was just gonna ask, on paper in the NFC, obviously the division they got in hands, I think, but roster wise, we'll stick with the offense. Now I know it's a question mark if Brandon Ayuk returns. Let's say he does, because I do think they do get a deal done eventually. With Brandon Ayuk, is that a better offense in San Francisco than it is in Philadelphia, or do you like that, or do you like Detroit?
To be honest, 49ers and the Eagles are very similar. Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, both MVP candidates. Respect, love both of them. Saquon, I'm gonna give the edge to CMC, but Saquon is the top 5 running back. CMC, the best running back.
Yeah.
AJ Brown to me is a better wide receiver than both Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Devontae Smith, I'm gonna say it's right beneath them, but not far. So Dallas Goddard, George Kittle.
George
I'm a
Kittle.
George Kittle. George Kittle, he's a better blocker. But if you want to see the 49ers, I'm not going to disagree. If you want to see the Eagles, I'm not going to disagree. They just who's going to be more healthier come January? To me, that's what matters.
And also, I would say, they don't have the deals done with Trent Williams yet, but if Brandon Ayuk isn't on the team, the Eagles have the best offense, I think. And I think that's where it all lies for me, because if he does wind up signing, I don't think the 49ers really fall off all that much from the past 2 years. But I think Detroit is sneaky. I think the Rams are sneaky offensively. But yeah, the Eagles, they are locked and loaded. And, like you said, they're moving aggressively and they're trying to win now too. So all these moves, Jahan Dotson, I do think he's an upgrade from Paris Campbell. As much as I like the Ohio State kid, Jahan Dotson, I think, is a little better than him. But yeah, that's all I got, kid. Anything else you caught over the week that you wanted to touch on before we get to our interview with Alex Sims?
Oh no, that's about it. Really. Yeah,
that's about it. Yeah, nothing really happened besides Little League World Series, but outside of that, nothing.
Yeah, you saw the Mexico kid. He had a walk off.
Yeah,
comeback. I was like,
oh my.
So you gotta imagine people. Just I play baseball. Dylan played baseball. Just being at that age and at that moment, I hit a walk off. Dylan remembers, in our tournament. But I can only imagine the excitement the kid felt. So from hitting a walk off in my past in a game winning situation like that, and him doing it as well. To me, it's just a dope moment.
So yeah, it's insane. The passion that these guys have, and I'll say this, kid. Some of these kids are pretty big for 12 years old.
I saw they're about 13. They saw
this kid from Venezuela. They will play Chinese Taipei in the international championship game. The kid from Venezuela, he throws 80 miles an hour. He was clocking in at 77, 78 from Little League, 40 feet. That's equivalent to 105 in the majors. The kid has a rocket of an arm, and he's throwing at the championship game against Chinese Taipei. So I'm rooting for Venezuela. I'm not going to be honest. I'm rooting for Venezuela. They're pretty good. And then on the other side, you got Texas. They're in the championship game, and they will play the winner of the game going on right now between, I think, Florida and Nevada. I think Florida's up 5-3 right now. So it might be Florida and Texas, 2 southern schools or southern states representing the United States. But before we get to our interview with Alex Sims, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with the boys or a new coconut flavor, watching NFL preseason, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at the Dream Wager and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. And now, here is our interview with Alex Sims. All right, great interview with Alex. 15-year career in the sports industry. She was talking about her challenge being a woman and just grinding and working hard. You love to hear being a Heisman voter as well, the process, even giving some nuggets on fantasy. So really great to have her on. But let's continue our two-a-days. We will finish up the NFC South with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. I want to start with the Panthers just because I think there's not as much to talk about as opposed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So let's get them out of the way. We're not going to touch the Super Bowl, right? Nothing. The Super Bowl, the NFC South. We do say this. I'll say this at the top. I do like Dave Canales. I do like the new head coach. I think he did good things in Tampa Bay, and I think when we get to Tampa Bay in a few minutes, I think that's why I have them dropped off just a little, because I like what he did with that offense, what he did with Baker Mayfield as well. So he also brings in his buddy, the Tampa Bay wide receiver coach, as their new OC. So it's going to be a brand new offense for Bryce Young. I think this is a crucial year in the development for Bryce Young. He didn't have a good season last year. Granted, not a lot around him. I think that's fair to say. Yes, we were harsh on Bryce Young last year, but I also think we could also be objective and say he didn't have the best supporting cast around him and also not the best coach. They bring in a guy like Dave Canales who's proven that he could make the playoffs, succeed under a quarterback, and I think this is a good move for Bryce Young in the development. They draft Xavier Legette from South Carolina. I really like that guy. I think low-key he'll be the wide receiver one come the few years. He's big, he's tall, he can catch the ball. They bring in Deontay Johnson from the Steelers as well. They get Adam Thielen, obviously, in the slot. He had over 1,000 yards last season. They have Chuba Hubbard behind as their running back. I like what they did in the draft. They went and they got their right guard for the future in Robert Hunt. They paid him $20 million. He's a great right guard. So we'll see. They got a left guard in Damian Lewis as well. So they're really going to try to protect Bryce Young, and that's what they needed. He's not the biggest guy. They need to go and protect him. Let's start at their win total, kid, because I think that is something we can look at. It opened up at 4.5. It is up to 5.5 now. A lot of sharp people that I respect and that I see, they took the over immediately on the 4.5, which is, I think, why you see it at 5.5 right now. Minus 124 to the over. So it's still favored for them to win 6 games. Under is at plus 102. As of right now, kid, they're not favored in any game. And I think rightfully so. The schedule isn't the hardest, I would argue. They have a pretty easy schedule, according to all things. But let me hear their win total from you. What do you like?
Dale, give me the under. Under 5.5 at the plus money mark, Dale. I do expect Bryce Young to take a step up. And honestly, I think we all need to see Bryce Young take the next step up. We see the addition at the wide receiver spot with Deontay Johnson. Like you said, the rookie as well. Adam Thielen had a spectacular season last year. I think he surprised many of us. Dale, I wouldn't say. Well, honestly, I would say if it wasn't for C.J. Stroud, a lot of people wouldn't have the criticism of Bryce Young or the pressure Bryce Young has on his shoulders right now. If C.J. didn't perform the level he did last season, but guess what, he did. So the fact that Bryce Young has to now live up to more expectations, or just live up to just the first overall pick, I think this is the do or die season. He has to have somewhat a successful season. I'm not saying they have to, win 9 games to make the playoffs or nothing, but he just needs to look like a starting quarterback, look like a top 20, top 15 quarterback this season. So not just for a game, not just for 2 games, but, for more than half the season, at least 10, 12 games where he's honestly the best quarterback on the field. So I just need Bryce Young to step up, but I just don't see 6 wins. Do I see 5? Yeah, I'll give him a shot to get to 5 realistically, but to get to 6, I just don't see it. So give me the under at plus 102.
Yeah, they don't have the hardest schedule. It's the 10th easiest schedule in the league. I counted 4 a few times. I counted even 5 sometimes. If it was at 4.5, I probably would have took a flyer on the over, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But at 5.5 now, and now they're giving me plus money, I agree. I got to be on the under here, kid. You know, while factors outside of Bryce Young, like I said, were kind of out of his control. He had a bad rookie season. He struggled even in the more stable quarterback metrics, though. On the 357 dropbacks in which his offensive line was able to keep the pressure off of him, he still finished in bottom 5 of 48 eligible quarterbacks in accuracy and yards per attempt. So he's not throwing the ball down. That means he's throwing it to his checkdowns, and he's not accurate, which that's also another issue with Bryce Young. So I don't like it. They were 31st last year in scoring. They trailed by 113 points in total. I mean, on top of this, they were the only team in the league to never hold the lead in the fourth quarter. There were 2 wins they had last season were last second field goals. They just played from behind literally every game, and that's just not winning football, you know. And Dave Canales, his intent, he even said it when he came and got the job in Carolina. Their intent of their offense is to run the ball. Look how good of a season Ricard White had last season in Tampa Bay, which is why I brought up in our interview with Alex that I'm kind of not on him for fantasy this season because of the departure of Dave Canales. So I like him. I think Bryce Young will take a step up, but I do think they're going to run the ball a lot. You know, with that offensive line, that's kind of their key. They're ranked 19th offensive line in the league. It's not that bad. Like I said, they got a new left guard, new right guard. I think their secondary is okay with JC. I really hope JC Horn can stay healthy this year because he's a good kid from South Carolina, but he just can't stay on the field. I like their defense. Obviously, the departure of Brian Burns hurts their front 7, but their front 7 was still able to get after the quarterback last season despite a really bad year. But yeah, I think they're going to run the ball a lot, regardless of Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson. I just think they're going to run the ball a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to be on the under, kid. I'm not going to take them to make the playoffs as well. So, I think they'll have a better year. Like last year, they only went 2-15. I think there's 4 wins. I think that's a step up.
I give them 5. Yeah.
Yeah, because look, if we look at the record or the schedule, I think on the road week 1 in the Superdome is tough.
Dub. No, yeah. It's a dub.
I was going to give them Oakland, but that's on the road, and I think Oakland's defense is going to be good. I give them a shot week 7 against the Redskins. I split them with the Saints. I split one with the Saints. I gave them one.
I know you wouldn't agree with this, but if the division is locked up, which I think it will be, I give them a win against week 18 against the Falcons.
Yeah, if it's locked up,
that might be a no-need game for the Falcons if they have a shot for the 1 seed they play. But if they're in a situation where they can't move up or move down, you know, they might take that L. I give them a shot against the Cardinals week 16, 15. I give them a shot against the Giants, Saints at home, a shot against Denver. Let's see how things look. But, you know, I give them a chance against Denver, and I give them a 25% chance at Chicago. But other than that, Dill, you know, in a small chance at home against the Chargers. We just got to see how this dude looks, you know, coming off the heel or whatever, the foot injury.
Yeah.
We don't even know exactly what it is. It's the foot
he is good news on Justin Herbert, though. He is scheduled to practice, so he will be ready for week 1, but we'll see how he plays. But you're right. I mean, I gave him Washington. I gave him the Saints one. I gave him the Giants. I split with week 13 with Tampa Bay. I gave him the home win there. And then I even gave him week 18 because I do think at the end of the day, the division will be locked up. And I think Atlanta will probably play their bench. So I gave him 5. And but I can't give him any more. Maybe Arizona, but I'm a little higher on Arizona than I think most people. I don't give them Denver because I think Bo Nix is going to torch them. Chicago, I think, is a year or two ahead. I know, but Bo Nix
beat him.
Bo Nix is better than Bryce Young.
I gotta see it. I'm not gonna
I know
disagree.
you
I'm not gonna
can't. That's
disagree.
what's crazy.
Yeah, I can't just be like you bugging. I
I
can't.
know. I know.
I can't.
I know.
I gotta see it.
I know. All right. So let's go to player props then. No defensive props. I was trying to look for a JC Horn prop, but
Same.
they don't know if he's
he
gonna
doesn't
stay.
He doesn't stay on the field enough.
Let's go to Adam Thielen though. Over under is at 600 yards. Like I said, great year despite just winning 2 games. He had 103 catches. That was top 10 in the league. And he caught for 1,000 yards. He didn't have the touchdowns, but he had a fantastic year, kid. It's at 600. You got to see him getting another 1,000-yard season, right?
I don't know about 1,000, Dale, but definitely over 600. I think Adam Thielen had a career year last year. I definitely wrote him off. I know Minnesota wrote him off, and he balled. I think that was one of the biggest bright sides in Carolina last year was the signing of Adam Thielen. It was a weak wide receiver core, one of the worst wide receiver cores in all of football, and the fact that Adam Thielen was able to put up 1,000 yards on a 2-win team on a rookie quarterback was impressive, Dill. In my opinion, 1,000 is too much. To expect another 1,000 from Adam. I don't even think Adam didn't have back-to-back 1,000 seasons.
No, it was his career. It was his career year. He never had 1,000 yards till last year.
Look at that. Ken for Cousins, he couldn't get 1,000, and he got 1,000 with Bryce Young. Bryce Young can't be that bad now, but over 600. And a half, they're definitely going over.
He was definitely force feeding them, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he takes a step back, be the number 2 wide receiver with the addition of Deontay Johnson. I'm gonna say he catches around 7 through 800.
Yeah, I gotta go over as well. I do think there are more mouths to feed, like you mentioned, Deontay Johnson. They bring in from Pittsburgh. You also have the rookie out of South Carolina, who I think will be a big, deep threat. Chuba Hubbard's really not a threat outside. They have Trimble, their tight end. I'm not the highest on Trimble, but, he is serviceable. I agree. I don't know if he'll have 1,000 yards, but he'll definitely get over 600. The last time he's gone under this number was in 2019, where he had 418, but he got hurt that year. But when he's healthy, he's anywhere from 700 to 900. Actually, in 2018, he had 1,300 yards. That was his best year. 2017, he had 1,200 yards. Shout out fucking Adam Thielen. He was a stud back in the day. But yeah, give me Adam Thielen over 600 receiving yards. I really like that number as well. Let's go to the rookie, Xavier Legette, 450 and a half. I mean, just on surface, kid, I feel like that's just too low. Now, granted, he doesn't have any numbers. The numbers that we have in college, he balled out in South Carolina, though, kid. I mean, 71 catches for 1,255 yards. He had 7 touchdowns as well. Yards after the catch, that is his thing. He's a big guy, 6'3", 230. Go up and get the ball. This is what Bryce Young really needs. He needs a big guy on the outside that can take some coverage away from Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen so they could get more one-on-one coverage. But 450 is just too low for the rookie. I expect 500 to 600 yards.
Yeah, I didn't touch it though, but if you're gonna have a 6'3" rookie, probably 215, probably runs a 4.5 as your number 3, he's gonna get some yards. So I expect him, to get a couple, wide open, probably beat a couple linebackers in the first few weeks of the season, put up some good numbers, and then he gets some eyeballs on him. Then he kind of gets some coverage still. But I'm not gonna touch it, but I will also lean his over as well, just because he's gonna get the opportunities. The Panthers, you said it earlier, they're not favored in the game, so they're gonna be slinging it, especially in the fourth quarter, and teams are gonna let them get those 10, 15 yards, nothing cheap, nothing deep, so the kid's gonna able to put up yards. I'm just not gonna bet it.
Yeah. Let's go to Deontay Johnson. Now I agree. I do think he will be the number 1 right outside of Adam Thielen, and then they'll kind of ease in the rookie. But Deontay Johnson, he's sitting at 800 and a half receiving yards, minus 112 both ways for him now. He did go under this last season, only 51 catches and 707. Yeah. 2022, he had 882. He did go over that. That was 2 years in a row because 2021 was his best year. He had 1,100 yards. He had 107 catches. That was his best year. 2020, his sophomore year, 88 catches, 923 yards as well. So rookie season, he did go under. He only had 680 80 yards, but 3 out of the 5 years in the league, he has gone over this. I expect him to be the number one. I like the over. I see anywhere from 800 to 900 yards.
Yeah, Dale, give me the over. To me, this is my favorite bet for this Panthers team, just because we know Deontay Johnson is going to come in and be the true number one on this team. I understand Adam Thielen had 1,000 yards last season, but we agree Adam Thielen is on the back in his career while Deontay Johnson is still in his prime. I think Deontay Johnson could put up similar numbers to what Adam Thielen did last year, and especially if this team wins, let's just say 5 games, I think the kid will have 800 plus to 1,000. So if Adam Thielen was able to get 1,002 wins last season, I think Johnson and him could
Yeah.
go at least for 16, 15 plus combined in 4 or 5 wins.
No running back props, unfortunately. We need justice for Chuba Hubbard. I mean, because I know he's not a household name, but I do like Chuba Hubbard. I think he's serviceable. And like I said, I think they're going to run the ball behind that offensive line this year with Dave Canales. Let's go to Bryce Young, though. 3,200.5 is his passing yard. He didn't throw his rookie season for 3,000. He threw for 2,877. Most of it was to Adam Thielen. He had 11 touchdowns and he had 10 interceptions. His interception prop is at 10.5, minus 118 both ways. His passing touchdowns, a little bump up in 17.5, minus 112 both ways. I definitely love his over 3,200 because just with the additions of Deontay Johnson, the rookie Xavier Legette, I think we branched it out. We think anywhere from 800 for Deontay Johnson, another 600 to 800 for Adam Thielen, another 700 for the rookie. That's over. That's over 3,200, and I think the touchdowns are going to be there as well. I'm going to go over his passing yards and his passing touchdowns. His interceptions, I would not touch. I would lean under. If anything, I do think they're going to, like I said, take care of the ball a little more with Dave Canales. I think Bryce Young's they're going to run the ball a little more. So I would stay away. If anything, if you want to touch it, I would take the under, but I do like the over for the passing yards and passing touchdowns.
Give me the over 3,200.5 passing yards. He had 28 last year, and I do expect him to take an uptick. I expect at least 500 to 700 more yards. So I'll give him a shot to get to 3,500 passing yards. With the addition of Deontay Johnson, the head coach coming from Tampa Bay, that we saw the improvement in jump Baker Mayfield made last season. So I kind of expect Bryce Young to take that similar step and take a jump moving forward like Baker did. Hopefully he does the same. And I think we'll see an uptick in his passing ability, his accuracy, and deep balls still. And hopefully, the Panthers are, heading towards the right direction. I think he definitely goes over 3,200.5. The 17 touchdowns and a half there, I'm going to stay away from it. He had 11 last year. Don't get me wrong, I do lean it to go over 17.5 just because it's just a short number. But I'm just going to stay away from it.
All right. Well, anything else? That's all I really had on the Panthers.
Yeah, it wasn't really much for the Carolina Panthers, right? So, they're not a popular team. It's not like it's a star-started team. They're on the rebuild. So hopefully Carolina turns it around quick. And honestly, I'm rooting for Bryce Young just because, Bama.
Yeah, Bama. But we do expect a better year from Bryce Young.
Real quick, I got a week 1 play, Dill. Didn't say it last week because, last episode with the Saints because I wanted to end it off here. But week 1, Carolina Panthers versus the Saints. Give me the New Orleans Saints minus 4.5 on the spread, minus 110.
Love it. Let's go to Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Gotta love my boy Todd Bowles. I always loved Todd Bowles, to be honest. Yeah, I was hard on him because he was my coach. I think he's a better DC, if I'm being honest, but
true,
he's a good coach. Regardless of the outcomes, he is a good coach. I I do like Todd Bowles. I really do. I give him a hard time, but I got a soft spot for Todd Bowles. Super Bowl, I'm not gonna touch 65-1. NFC 35-1. I'm not gonna touch that. NFC South plus 290, the second best odds. Any opinion or any I guess temptation to touch that or no?
I give them a shot. I think it's gonna be tough just because I think the Atlanta Falcons have an easy schedule. And they're still making moves. It's not. I would say they
Yeah.
made moves. They're still making moves. They might add another piece in a couple of days. So Atlanta is trending towards the right direction. I gotta be honest. They're looking as of right now like the favorite, and they should win the division. But we can't deny what Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks did last year. Winning the division, going to Philly. No, hosting Philly, winning a playoff game. I didn't expect any of these to happen. Baker having a career year, getting paid. I expected Mike Evans to have another 1,000-yard season, and that's about it, Dill. But Tampa Bay had a successful season, so I gotta at least give them a shot to repeat as division champs.
Yeah, I think we'll get a better number in season if you really want to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But no, I see some. I think it could happen. I'm not the highest on Tampa Bay. Now their win total.
It's Atlanta's division and lose. Let's just say that.
100%. Now their win total is interesting to me because it opened up at 8.5 and it immediately got bet down to 7.5, and I think for good reason. 7.5 is where it stands right now. Minus 150 towards the over. Chalky. Plus 122 towards the under. Interested to see where you're going with this one because I have a very firm opinion here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I counted it a couple times. I scratched my head. I'm gonna go with the over, Dale. I'm gonna have faith in Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield. Don't get me wrong. I do expect, let's just say, some regression from the team overall, but I don't expect a major drop off. I don't expect them just to fall face of the earth. Win 5 games, 6 games. No, I don't expect that, Dale. But to go over 7.5, I think I do. You know what? I do like that. I just don't love the fact that it's minus 150. But I do see the Tampa Bay. I do give them a shot to win 9, but I think they could get to 8 wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. At plus 122. I've hinted at it for a few weeks now. I think we're going to see some regression here from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They managed to win 9 games during the regular season, but only one of those was against a playoff team. They did win their wild card matchup, like you alluded to, but they never felt like a contender, at least to me. The team, they have an easier schedule. It's 11th easiest in the league, but they got to beat a top teams, to compete. They play Baltimore. They play Atlanta. They play Kansas City. They play San Francisco. They play Philadelphia. They play the Lions. They got some hard games in the beginning of the season, and most of them are on the road. They play Kansas City on the road. They play Detroit on the road. Some of these games are really tough. And, they have this new offensive coordinator. They're bringing in from college, Liam Cohen from Kent State. I think he brings in some optimism, but their rushing attack has arguably been one of the worst in the league over the last 2 seasons. On running back runs in the last 2 seasons, the Bucs ranked dead last in yards per carry, 3.5, and dead last in explosive run rate, just 7%. So I think last year they were also a little lucky. They ranked 3rd in field goal luck after ranking 25th in 2022. They ranked 10th in injury luck last season after 2022, where they ranked 28th. That's the 3rd largest year-to-year improvement in the NFL. So, and most importantly, we didn't even talk about, but Baker Mayfield, he put up unsustainable numbers, I thought, on 3rd and 4th downs last season. How many times on 3rd and 4th downs did we see Baker just pull one out of his hat? So many times. And I love him. I love the crotch grabbing Baker. I really do like Baker Mayfield a lot, but I just feel like those plays sometimes, I just think they're unsustainable sometimes, and all those factors. I think we're going to see some regression from this offense. So I'm going to take the plus 122. I'm actually going to take the other side. And I think it was bet down for a reason. At 8.5, I love the under. 7.5, they are favored in 8 games. It's going to be close. I'll say that. I think it's going to be right there. I see a 8-9 season but it wouldn't surprise me if they was like last season and went 9-8. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So yeah, I'm gonna take the under. You are gonna be on the over. Do you have them to make the playoffs then? Plus 142?
Nah, Dale. I got the Saints. I have the Saints edging them out. So okay, I give them a shot. Just it could always be a team that we expect to dominate, and they just fall off the injury or something. They just don't have a good season. So it all depends. But let's just say, barring injury, I have them missing the playoffs.
All right. Yeah, I got to miss in the playoffs as well. It's a chalky at minus 176, but if you want to play that, let's go to player props though. Let's go to start on defense. Antoine Winfield Jr. It was amazing. 1.5 interceptions is his prop. Minus 130 towards the over, plus 102 towards the under. Can you see now? I think this is the strength of this team. I think is their secondary. Obviously, Jordan Whitehead. They bring back Levante David. You got Antoine Winfield Jr. I like this secondary. I think it's a top 10, borderline top 10 secondary. I think that's,
and they've been together for a few years now.
Yes. And Todd Bowles, obviously he's the head coach, but he will have his paws on the defense as well. So
top 10 DC, right there.
Yes. Yeah, and arguably some years top 5 DC. But yeah, I like the secondary. I think this is the strength of this team is their secondary. I got to take the over 1.5. This is a future Hall of Famer, Antoine Winfield Jr. Let's be real. So I think he gets 2 interceptions here. And I think a lot of teams, like even in week 1, Jay Daniels, they're going to throw the ball. Week 2, Jared Goff and the Lions, they're going to throw the ball. Bo Nix, they're going to throw the ball. A lot of these teams that they're versing are going to test that secondary. And I think he's going to get a lot of volume. All he needs is 2 picks. Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to get 2 picks. Yeah, minus 130.
Yeah, I'll give him a shot to get 3. The kid got his contract. He got his money. I think he's going to ball out. He's balled out his previous year to get the deal. Now that he got his new deal, I think he's going to show the Buccaneers some return on their investment. I think he has a career year, another one. So I expect him to be flying around in that secondary, probably, get a few tip drills and then, probably catch a hard one or two. So I give him a shot to even get to 3 though.
All right, let's go to the guy, the Hall of Famer, the guy that always gets 1,000 yards per season, the guy Mike Evans. His prop receiving yards is at 1,025.5. They didn't make the same mistake as last year, kid. They put it at 1,000. Last year, top 10 in virtually everything, 1,255 yards. Last season, top 10. He had 13 touchdowns. That was tied for most in the league as well. Kid, we don't even need to go through the numbers. He's 1,000. Just book him in for 1,000 yards every season. The number is too low. This is an auto bet every season.
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about it. Mike Evans, what's going to be 11 straight season, 1,000 yards.
Yeah, it's insane.
Oddly enough, though, and I think you would agree, him and Baker have some type of special connection. We saw it time and time again last season, winning out. Throw it deep to Mike, and Mike is going to come down to it. So give me the over yards. Not even going to talk too much about it. Give me over 8.5 touchdowns at plus 116, though. I know he had 13 last year. I'm not saying he's going to go for double digits. I give him a shot to get to double digits, though, but definitely go over 8.5. Love the 9. I give him a shot to get to double digits, though. Like I said, him and Baker just they have a great connection. Both got their new deals, and trust me, they've been practicing all summer long. I wouldn't be shocked if Mike Evans is once again around double digits touchdowns and above 1,200 yards.
Do you think it was an outlier last season with the amount of touchdowns he did? Because I do think he's up and down. Like the prior year, he had 8, then he'll have 6, then he'll have 14 again, and then 13. Like it's up and down with the touchdowns. I kind of wanted to stay away, but like you said, it wouldn't shock me if he had 9, 10, 11.
I don't think it's him up and down. I think it's the quarterback play up and
That's
down.
fair.
Still. So we saw it last year. Him and Baker, like I said, has a great connection. If Baker is healthy, I expect Baker to look for him, especially late in the game, fourth quarter when they need it, key first downs. And guess what? That we both know he's gonna get at least 20 to 30, 40 plus 50-yard plus bombs down the field. And he's going to come up with at least half of those. And I'm going to say at least 25% will be touchdowns. So I'm going to give him at least 4 touchdowns on straight long balls, and let's see what he does at the goal line, or, 20 or under receptions.
Yeah, so his receptions is at 68.5
No,
minus
like
112.
receiving
No, I
the ball.
know.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
but he does have his reception prop at 68.5, and I just think that's too low as well. Now, we know Chris Godwin is the reception king on this team. Like, he'll have 44 yards, but he'll have 10 catches, which is insane. But I do think he'll get anywhere from 70 to 75 catches. I think the number is a little too low for Mike Evans, so I'm going to take the over. Any opinion on this one?
yeah. I'm gonna take the over as well. Just because out of the two, Chris Godwin, like you say, he's the reception king, but who's been more durable, throughout these last 3 seasons, 4 seasons? It's Mike Evans. So I expect Mike Evans to be there most of the season, and and get his reps up. That's all.
Yeah. All right, let's go to that guy, Chris Godwin. Now, he doesn't have receiving yards. I didn't find it. I saw his
Yeah.
receiving touchdowns. It's at 4.5, plus 108 towards the over, minus 136 towards the under. He only had 2 last season in 2023. 2022, he went under this as well, where he only had 3 touchdowns. 2021, he did go over. He had 5. And then 2020, we don't have to go back too far. He had 7 as well. So 2-2 in the last 4 years. It's a stay away from me, kid. I really don't want anything to do with this prop.
Yeah, I'm staying away. If anything, I lean the under, just because, one in do he tends to get injured. Let's just be honest, and then over the middle, I just feel like Chris Godwin is not going to get the same touchdowns, or at least goal line uh targets that he will, just marching down the field. So I think at the goal line, you got, Mike Evans 6'4" outside, you got the tight end, and you got the running back room as well. So I just feel like there's more options around the goal line and red zone to find it than Chris Godwin.
Yeah. Let's go to that running back room and Rashard White. I mentioned it on the interview, Alex Sims. He's just to stay away from me, especially with the departure of Dave Canales. His rushing yards is at 825.5. Now, it's a little dip, which I understand why. He rushed for 990 yards last season, but on 272 yards. That is not good. Like I said, it's on average of 3.5 yards, the lowest in the league. So he was just a workhorse. That's really what it was. He really wasn't having that big of a game. His rushing touchdowns is at 5.5. He did have 6 last season. His rookie season, though, in 2020, only 1 touchdown. Didn't get a lot of burn. He only had 481 yards. How do you gauge this running back? Because rookie season, he didn't get that much playing time, but a big step up in his sophomore year.
To be honest, though, I'm higher on Rashad White than you are. I like what he was doing last year in the Buccaneers. To be honest, I think it was a tough situation, but especially during, late in the year, we saw his role and he developed, and he started honestly running the ball pretty damn well. So I think we're gonna see somewhat of a similar season that we did last season, Dale. So I'm gonna go over, what is it, 825.5. I'll give him a shot to get to 1,000. He had 900 last year. I expect the offensive line. Remember, Jensen is coming back to center. I think the offensive line will be a little more healthier than it was last season, and I expect them to run the ball. Maybe not as good as they were last year with Dave Canales, but I expect them to still run the ball pretty well. And I expect Rashad White to just have a similar season last year. So I'll give him a chance to, do the same numbers around 900, maybe 1,000.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. Just like I said, I really expect a big drop off from White this season. I'm not going to touch any of his props. Like I said, he's just an automatic stay away from me in fantasy. Maybe it's a good fade for me this season, but yeah, I want nothing to do with Rashard White this season. Let's go to the $100 million man, Baker Mayfield, baby. His passing yards, 3,500.5. He threw for 4,000 yards last year. Top 10 in the league. He was top 10 in touchdowns, 28 touchdowns. It's at 22.5. He only had 10 interceptions, which is really good for Baker Mayfield. I thought he took care of the ball as well. Now he'll have his one or two where he throws it up and it's Baker being Baker, but I think overall from years past, he's done a really good job. And I think he's been surrounded by good coaches dating back to Cleveland with Kevin Stefanski. I think it really elevated Baker Mayfield. I would actually take the under in interceptions. I think he takes care of the ball again. Now, passing touchdowns, I think, again, I think last year was a kind of an outlier, and I don't see some of those him making some of those same plays that he did last year. Will he do this year? So I'm going to take the under his passing touchdowns, but I do think he gets over 3,500. I mean, with the talent he has on the outside with 2 Hall of Famers, I think he gets over this, but I'm not going to touch his touchdowns, and I would lean under his interceptions.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over his passing yards, 3,500 and a half. Don't get me wrong, last season, he was a career year for Baker. He had 4,000 passing yards. I do expect a step back, but not a major step back. So I'm gonna say, Baker goes a little under 4,000. Let's just say around like 3,750 around there. And I'm gonna go over 22 and a half touchdowns just because I expect Mike Evans to have another solid season. If Chris Godwin is healthy throughout the season, maybe he has a shot to go over his total as well. Tight end. I'm gonna go with the over. I'll give him a shot. He had 28 last season. To regress 7 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns. I don't know about that. Maybe 3 to 5. Is reasonable. But to regress that much, I think he goes over at least 22 and a half.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's just look at his first 3 years in
Yeah.
Cleveland. I understand that's Cleveland, but 26 touchdowns in 2020. 2019, 2020, he had 22. His rookie year, he had 27. I'm going to go by that. 2021, 2022, 2020 with Carolina and Cleveland wasn't really starting. We know what happened. He gets traded.
Yeah.
But the years he started, he looked pretty damn good. So I'm going to go with the over on both.
I don't want this to be confused. I do love Baker. I really do like Baker as a player, as a human being. I think we're gonna see a little step back, and not just him, in the whole team. So I think that's why I'm a little down on the Bucs this year. We expect a better season from Carolina as well, kid. But hey, 2 divisions down, 2 more to go. We will take care of the NFC North. Ooh, what do we got next episode? We got the Lions and the Packers. Woo, that's a good one. Do we got your NFC champion?
I already said the Eagles. I give them a shot. I have 3 in the NFC.
I love it, kid. All right, let's go to week 0, kid. Week 0, it will start in Dublin, Ireland. My question off the bat, I guess, is what ties does Florida State and Georgia Tech have with Dublin, Ireland, that they're the 2 playing? I don't know. So right now, Florida is the favorite, 10.5. They are the away team technically. Over under is at 55. Now, money has come in on the Georgia Tech Green Hornets, and I don't know why. Yellow Jackets, excuse me. I don't know why all the people I respect, like sharp bettors, are all on the Seminoles, which worries me, but the number continues to come down. It opened up at 14. I bet it at 11. I bet it at 10.5 now. I got it at 10. I think Florida State returned a lot. I think they're on a little revenge tour after not getting into the playoffs last season with the injury to Jordan Travis, who is a Jet, mind you. So I think they're on revenge tour right now. I like Georgia Tech. They returned a lot of their guys, but I think Florida State is out for blood this season. I think we could see a blowout. So I'm going to take the Seminoles minus 10 as my first game. Any opinion on this game, kid, before I give you my second play?
Nah, Dale. I'm gonna stay away from week 0. Probably come at y'all, week 1 or 2. Give y'all some plays. But to be honest, though, it's gonna be hard not to at least lean FSU minus 10.5. Just for I understand Jordan Travis not there, but look what they was able to do in the back half of the season without him.
Yeah.
I think FSU, they got revenge. They got revenge on their mind. Let's just say that.
And then the last game for me is a little night game, 8 o'clock here on the East Coast. Nevada hosting SMU. SMU, I mean, who? I want to know who's bringing all this booster money. They're just bringing in a bunch of talent. SMU, and they're favored by 24.5. And what has history and what is? We've been doing this a while now, kid. When it's that many points, what do? We Oh, you fade. I'm going to lay it. I'm going to actually lay it because they're 24-point favorites for a reason. SMU, they brought in a bunch of new talent in the transfer portal. Like I said, some of these boosters, they got some money. They're bringing in a lot of transfers from everywhere. Purdue, they got a running back or a wide receiver from Purdue as well. So I think SMU, they're going to blow them out. I'm not going to overthink this one. This is actually my favorite play of the week. So give me think they are the Stallions. Give me the SMU laying 24.5 on the road against Nevada. Are we going to have any action midnight here on the East Coast? Laying 40 points on the island, Hawaii against Delaware State. I'm high on Hawaii. I think they're going to have a good year, but 40 points is crazy. What if they take their starters out? That's my issue with it,
Don't get me wrong, no disrespect to Delaware State, but we know why it's at 40.5 realistically, but come on.
The
Delaware
Rainbow
State.
Warriors, baby.
we gotta take a flyer on Delaware State.
Oh my god, that's my problem. Like I said, I'm high on Hawaii this season, but 40. My worry is they're gonna get up 30-0, 35-0, and then they're just gonna take their starters out, and then that's when I think they could backdoor cover. So yeah, I'm gonna stay away from that, but we will have. I love how they're like, fuck it, we're gonna have action from 9 in the morning to 9 at night. We're just gonna fucking lay it out. I love it. So yeah, those are my two plays: FSU minus 10, 10.5, whatever you could get, and then SMU minus 24.5. We are laying some chalk here in week 0. Let's go over to the Diamond, Kid. A few plays for me, but I'll let you start it off, Kid. What do you like here for Friday?
Yeah, let's start it off. 7:05, Houston going to Baltimore. Houston Astros, who's honestly been winning like hell. Red Sox took care of them, but they've been winning as of late. Baltimore as well. They can't lose. They finally lost yesterday, thank God. But these teams just keep winning. The Red Sox trying to fight in, but let me just get into it. Houston in Baltimore. But Houston slightly favored, over under sitting at 9. Give me the dog, Dale. Give me the Baltimore Orioles at home. Don't get me wrong. Houston been playing it better of late, but I just feel like Baltimore is their division. And well, right now the Yankees are on top, but I still think they have a shot for the division. I think Baltimore right now is just a clear, better team. Even though Houston been playing hot past month and a half or so, but I just feel like Baltimore is the better team. So give me the dog at that price. Baltimore on the money line.
Yeah, I got it at plus 104. Baltimore, I like them as well. Not a big Hunter Brown fan on the road. It's hard to fade Houston right now, though. They're one of the hottest teams. But Boston took 2 or 3 from them, which is good, which you like to see. Traveling now here, going to Baltimore. Not too big of a travel spot for them, but I do like Baltimore here at home as well. So at the nice plus price, I'm going to take Baltimore as well. And then my last play, only 2 plays for me. I'm going to go to your Boston Red Sox and Arizona. Arizona, another fucking hot team right now. Diamondbacks, Ryan Nelson going for the Diamondbacks. Brian Bello going for the Red Sox. Minus 134 for the Sox. Plus 114 for the Diamondbacks. Over under is at 9.5. Kid, I feel like this number is just way too low. With the way Arizona's playing, scoring 7, 9. They just scored 10 runs tonight. They're involved in the over 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. They're a top 5 lineup. And Jackson Morrell, I mean, the rookie season this kid's having for the Snakes, they are just unloading. So I think we could see some runs. We know Brian Bello gives up his fair share of runs. Ryan Nelson as well. I think we could see a shootout. So give me over 9.5. I got it at minus 102.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. My next game, heading out to Cleveland. Texas Rangers taking on the Cleveland, the Guardians. Over under sitting at 7.5. Texas catch it plus 120 on the money line. Don't get me wrong, the Cleveland Guardians have been struggling as of late. Losing I think 4 out of the last 5. Rangers been going, but guess what? I think the Cleveland Guardians get back on rhythm. I'm gonna take them on the money line minus 134. I don't love it. I do hope the Rangers win, but realistically, I think the Cleveland Guardians take care of business. Give me the money line minus 141.
I love it, kid. Good luck on the diamond. Let's try to stay hot there. Any WNBA before we get up out of here? We got 4 games here on a Friday.
Yeah,
Good game.
Yeah, good games. I'm only touching one. One I'm honestly confident in. I'm gonna touch the Phoenix Atlanta game. I'm gonna take Phoenix on the road minus 2.5. Disappointing loss the other day. Atlanta has been winning. Shockingly, they won 3 straight games, but I think Phoenix get to get back on the win column and take care of business. Give me Phoenix Mercury minus 2.5 on the road.
I was just gonna say Atlanta sneakily 3 in a row, and the worry is though they don't play well at home. They're under 500 at home, the Atlanta Dream, but yeah, nice little play there. I think the best game of the night is going to be the late game, Vegas Aces against Minnesota. Mm-hmm. That should be a really good game. So
I also lean the Aces, but
me too. We'll see, but Minnesota has been good, kid. 20-8 on the year. They have a better record. They've won 4 in a row. I know we were talking about, Jackie Young coming back, playing well for the Aces, but 3-7 their last 10. They just lost to this Minnesota team the other night. Not playing the best. I'll say that right now. So we'll see. They got blown out the other night against New York, coming back from I guess the Olympic break. So we'll see. I'm going to keep my eye on that game. But kid, any last words before we get up out of here?
Oh no, that's it though. And I'm gonna take a flyer out on Kyle Hendricks still. Chicago Cubs taking on the Miami Marlins. Kyle Hendricks on the mound. Chicago minus 120 on the money line. Overall, they're sitting at 8.5. Give me the Cubs on the money line, minus 120. I'm going to take a shot on boy Kyle Hendricks on the mound.
I love it. All right, everyone. That is going to do it for this Friday edition of the Dream Wager. Quick announcement. We will be going back to 3-a-days starting next week up until the end of football season for the next 5 months. So we are back to 3 days a week. But yeah, that's going to do it for this Friday edition of the Dream Wager on behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Elvis, myself. Thanks again to Alex Sims for coming on. Make sure you guys follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram at the Dream Wager. If you miss an episode, no worries. You guys can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, rate, give us a review, leave in the comments who you'll be betting on this weekend. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Everyone have a great weekend, and we will see you guys on Monday.